Shark. That simple word evokes fear in the minds of all those who have ever ventured to the sea. With movies such as Jaws, it is no wonder that the shark is seen as a vicious killing machine. However, other than in movies, sharks are virtually quiet creatures of the deep. The only times we hear of them are in the rare cases of shark attacks, which leads the public to believe that they are all bad. It is interesting to know, however, that in cases of shark attacks, it is not vicious killing, but rather a case of mistaken identity. Many people do not think of a shark as being a fish, but actually it is. The shark is a chronologinous fish, which differs from the bony fishes in many ways. Bony fishes have swim bladders that keep them buoyant in the water, but sharks lack a bladder, using liver oils instead as a means of buoyancy. Sharks have a different type of skeletal system. They don't have ribs, which the bony fish have for protection of the body cavity. There is just an open body cavity. The specialized shark's tail, called the heterocercal tail, has a higher upper lobe and a lower bottom lobe, and unlike the bony fish, the fins of a shark remain vertical as they swim through the water. In Hawaii, shallow reef sharks are the most commonly seen, such as the scalped hammerhead off Kaneohe Bay, the black-tip reef shark, and the white-tip reef shark. With sharks in the waters surrounding our islands, it is inevitable that sooner or later there will be an attack.
Well, certainly any shark attack is a problem, and anytime anybody gets attacked, it causes a lot of media attention, and for that particular person, it's a very important aspect, and so it's a very dangerous thing. But for me, I feel more scared crossing streets in Hawaii with cars than I do going into the ocean, because the chance of actually being attacked by a shark is so slim compared to the thousands of people every day that are in the water and the beaches and in kayaks and swimming and surfing and all the things that's going on. It's a very remote and very small chance compared to a car wreck, which is a multiple daily occurrence.
Not all sharks are the monsters we think them to be. So, we've heard about sharks, but now let's hear from a shark. Hello, we're here with Stanley, a shark, who's volunteered to answer some questions. So, Stanley, what kind of shark are you?
Well, I am a great white shark.
But you're blue, not white. Anyway, so what are your favorite things to eat?
Well, my favorite things are sharks in general.
Sharks in general?
Well, we like all sorts of things. It really depends on the type of shark. There is a misconception that sharks are vicious eating machines, when really we eat on average a quantity of food equal to only 3 to 14% of our body weights per week. But, like I said, it depends on the type of shark. All sharks are carnivores, but each species of shark hunts for different animals, depending on its lifestyle. Benthic, or bottom-dwelling sharks, forage for animals that live on the ocean floor, including sea urchins, clams, and crabs. Pelagic, or open-water sharks, cruise through the ocean hunting squid, fish, other sharks, seabirds, and marine mammals. The largest pelagic sharks are filter feeders. These sharks strain small fish, krill, larvae, and other types of plankton out of the water. They eat huge quantities of teeny little animals.
And which are you?
Well, I'm a pelagic shark.
So, how do you find your prey?
Well, the most important sense we use in detecting our prey is sound. Our acute hearing can detect a struggling fish 2 kilometers away. We don't have external ears. Instead, a tiny duct carries sound waves to the inner ear. We can also detect sound with our lateral line system. This system is made up of hundreds of pores all along the sides of our bodies. It is also highly sensitive to wave movements, pressure changes, and vibrations in the water. We also have an incredible sense of smell. Some shark species can smell one drop of blood diluted in 1 million gallons of seawater. We have good eyesight as well, especially when prey is closer than 15 meters. We have a sophisticated and complex retina that is poorly understood by you humans, and it's something that I don't really understand either, so don't bother asking. We can also sense electrical impulses produced by animals. This sense helps us detect animals hidden beneath the sand. Sharks with barbels or whisker-like feelers use them to feel their way to food.
Wow, that's really quite interesting. So, tell me, Stanley, how do sharks strike?
Well, Christen, we have a very refined striking pattern. When we spot a potential victim, we circle the victim slowly. Each time we circle, we'll get a little bit closer and a little bit closer. We may even bump the victim a few times. When we decide it's safe, we'll take an exploratory bite. Finally, if the victim seems safe enough, we'll make a sudden strike from behind. When we strike, we will actually roll our eyes back into our heads to protect them from the claws or nails of our victims. Also, our upper jaw is not attached to the roof of our mouth and extends at that moment of strike to get, some extra leverage and grab.
I see. So, tell me about this whole thing of sharks being territorial.
Well, the theory is true, at least for certain reef sharks. They'll arch their backs and lower their pectoral fins, and then they begin to swim in a most awkward way, using short, jerky motions. If you see a shark doing this, you better take off quick. Those reefers can swim in bursts of about 30 knots.
Wow, that's pretty fast. So, besides getting away quickly, what sort of things can humans do to prevent a fatal shark attack? And what can they do if a shark is attacking them?
Well, the answer's simple, Christen. There are lots of things that one can do. If you insist on swimming, swim at netted beaches whenever possible. Avoid swimming with an open wound, as that will only attract us. Don't swim at dawn, dusk, or at night, when we're the most active and have a competitive sensory advantage. Avoid swimming in the vicinity of flooding rivers. The water there will be murky and brackish. Avoid uneven tanning or bright-colored clothing. We see contrast particularly well. Don't swim alone. We're more likely to attack a solitary individual. When visiting an unfamiliar area, seek local advice. Be cautious, especially when spearfishing. The fish on your spear may attract one or some of us. Don't wander too far from shore. This isolates an individual and may additionally place you farther away from assistance. Wearing shiny jewelry is probably a bad idea because the reflected light may look like the sheen from fish scales. Avoid waters with known effluents or sewage, or those being used by sport or commercial fishermen, especially if there are signs of bait fishes and feeding activity. Diving seabirds are good indicators of such action. Sightings of porpoises do not necessarily mean that sharks are, absent. We often both, eat the same food. Refrain from excess splashing and do not allow pets in the water because of their erratic movements. Exercise caution when occupying the area between sandbars or near steep drop-offs. These are our favorite hangouts. Excuse me. Do not enter the water if a shark is known to be present, and evacuate the water if sharks are seen while swimming there. And, of course, never irritate a shark. That's just asking for it, and besides, it's not nice, and we don't like it.
And what if a shark is attacking someone? What should they do?
Well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but if it'll help stop overfishing and killing sharks, I suppose it's okay. Go for the nose. Use the back or the butt of a diving knife and tap it, sharply against our nose. Punch it with your fists if you have to. Oh, we're also really paranoid, so if you act offensive while we're circling, we're not going to like it too much. We're going to get confused and, eventually we'll swim away.
Well, we still got a little of time left. Would you mind demonstrating how you strike at your prey?
Well, sure.
I asked a friend of mine to help us. Okay, just do whatever Stanley tells you, okay?
Okay.
been Christen Zoccolante, reporting with Marine Life.